Arknights, a game where you pull waifus and husbandos and upgrade them to be used on a stage as towers in a tower defense game. Simple, right? But is that all? Arknights at its core is in fact a resource management simulator. Whether it be deciding which operators you want to use your materials on or which banner you want to use your Orundum for, you must plan all these kinds of stuff to be able to have a smooth playing experience. One resource that stands out the most from the others is this, the Orundum. This red candy looking rock is one of the most valuable, or if not the most valuable material a user can have. Why is it valuable? What, are you stupid? Of course it's for us gacha players to roll on banners to get our desired characters. What else could it be for? Its important and majestic sole purpose also means that Orundum is very scarce. Even though we get a generous amount of them every week, you must have felt like you needed more. But then at one point in every player's experience, you take a look at the base and saw this option. Oh wow, the developer is so generous! They're giving us the option to get more Orundum? I'm going to start trading Orundum right away. Or so you thought. But you're smart. Well, at least I hope you are. And so you start asking the huge question. Is it actually worth it? Well, first, let's analyze what farming Orundums actually is and what it brings to us. The exact way to Orundum farm is to convert 2 Originium shards to 20 Orundum in a level 3 trading post. To produce Originium shards, you have two options. The first one is to convert 2 tier 2 rocks using 1600 LMD, or 1 tier 2 device using 1000 LMD for 1 Originium shard each. After extensive math done by smart people, we know that the best way to get Originium crystals is to convert rocks instead of devices. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't it a bit expensive? Well, yes, because it is expensive, and not just by a bit. Okay, let's assume that the player has infinite LMD, which means the only thing limiting the production is the amount of Orirock you can get and how fast your factory can go. Usually, the latter can be ignored, so let's do some quick maths in the background, and an F2P could get an additional 1950 Orundums in 7 days, which means roughly an additional 14 pulls a month. That's almost 1.5 worth of pulls of what the monthly card offers. Make it 17 additional pulls if you already have the monthly card active and you use the potions. Sounds pretty nice, right? Let's ground it down a bit so we can make a comparison. This is how much pulls an F2P and a monthly card users could get a month. You could pause the video first to let this sink in. And by comparison, farming Orundum would increase an F2P's pulse income by a whopping 50%, while a monthly user would get a 45% boost. Sounds really good, right? But what does it all cost? Well, first of all, since we are going to be using all of our sanity for rocks, that means you won't have any sanity to be used for getting other resources for upgrading your operators. Not only that, but since you're also using the LMD produced in your base for random farming, that means your base is also crippled. Now this is a really huge deal. This basically means you're stuck with what you have in your roster currently and you can't play other stages. You're going to have to devote your whole account to Orundum farming during this period. Next, the best farming stage for any kind of Orirock is 1-7. What does that mean, you ask? Well, not only do you not have any more sanity left to be used in game, but you also lose real life sanity farming 1-7 the whole time. The time it takes to farm a single 1-7 cycle is 1 minute and 17 seconds. That's if you stare at the screen the entire time and manage to get a semi-frame perfect last kill. So let's say it's about 1.5 minutes. On top of that, since 1-7 only takes 6 sanity each run, you're going to have to run it a total of 40 times every day, which equates to roughly 1 hour. And that's not accounting for the additional sanity potions you'll get. That's definitely not a short time. So then, should you Orundum farm? Let's summarize the pros and cons of Orundum farming. The pros are, you get roughly 50% more pulls than you would normally get. But the cons are, you have no sanity to be used on other stages, you have little to zero base income, you're going to waste a good chunk of your time every day to farm 1-7. Knowing this, we can deduce what kind of demographic would be suitable to farm Orundum. The first one is late game players who already have a lot of strong operators to brute force everything, so they don't need to farm for other operators. The second category, collectors. Although we players don't really need any specific operators to play the game, a lot of players want to collect all the waifus and husbandos they can get. Third, people with a lot of spare time.
Or you could be me who spent 300 fucking pulls in the shotgun better and is now broke. Fuck you, Chen.
So if you fall into these categories, then maybe Orundum farming is worth it for you. So what's the correct way to Orundum farm? Base. This is the place you are going to be producing Orundum, and so the layout is very important. I would recommend running a base with 2 trading posts, 5 factories and 2 power plants, or 2 trading posts, 4 factories and 3 power plants. It's better if you have the former, but if you can't be bothered to change from 243, then keeping it that way is fine too. You need to set 1 trading post to Originium negotiation and turn one of your factories that were producing gold to produce Originium shard instead. So you have 1 factory supplying the LMD trading post and 1 other supplying the Orundum trading post. There is also another option in a way to set up your base, which is 342 or 333. With this base layout, you don't need to worry about your LMD stock going down as fast as the 2 trading post layout. But using this layout also means that your EXP production will diminish greatly, if not completely. So think about it. Next, we are going to discuss our sanity usage. Generally, you won't be Orundum farming every week, because you're going to have to stop to clear event stages and farm the event rewards to get the most out of your sanity. And in this period, you're going to have to transform your base back to its original layout. During this time, your base will also stock up on LMD, and on top of that, you're going to get additional LMD from the event rewards, so you don't really have to farm for LMD that much. This leaves us with the matter of gathering Ori rocks. After an event ends, don't change your base production yet. Instead, you're going to go straight back to farming 1-7 and stock up on some number of Ori rock. I'd recommend getting at least 100 or 200 rocks. The reason is that your natural sanity, even with the help of potions from the monthly card, is not enough to keep up with the pace of Ori rock consumption for Originium shard production in the factory, and you'll eventually run out. If you don't stock up first, then you're going to have to deal with one factory producing nothing, waiting for you to feed it more rocks very frequently. But if you do stock up, then you wouldn't run out of rocks as soon, which means you don't need to switch up production as often as well. Lastly, here are some operators that would be good to be stationed in a factory producing Orundum. First, Lava. She gains a 35% production speed skill at E1, and raising her is not that expensive, so I'd highly recommend using her. The same goes to Midnight, except Midnight gains a 30% production speed skill instead of Lava's 35%. There's also Ayafiala who has a plus 35% production speed skill at E0. While there is also Earth Spirit, Ceylon, and Mint, which have their own Originium production speed bonus skills, they are really expensive to unlock, and you don't really need a faster production since you can't really keep up with the original production. After knowing all of this, you should be able to Orundum farm and get optimal results. I hope you find this video informative or entertaining. This is my first time making this kind of video, so any advice are welcome. That's all from me, thanks for watching, and see ya!